What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So recently, Michael Saylor went on with one of my favorite YouTube channels, Altcoin Daily. Shout out to the guys at Altcoin Daily. They do a fantastic job. Michael Saylor obviously is a huge, enormous Bitcoin bull, and he puts his money where his mouth is. One of the biggest holders of Bitcoin out there, at least that we know of, that's public, right? But he had some things to say about altcoins, basically saying everything but Bitcoin right now is an unregistered security. So, what does that mean for crypto? Does that mean everything else will crumble? Well, I want you to listen in to the conversation between Altcoin Daily and Michael Saylor on this question. We're going to listen in for about 3 or 4 minutes. Very, very fascinating stuff. I think you're going to learn a lot. And let's dive in.
You put out a tweet the other day. The whole crypto market besides Bitcoin right now is unregistered securities. What should happen? Should some get fined, or should they all go to zero and start new? What's the solution there?
I don't know what the solution is. I think that the industry would benefit if the SEC and the CFTC put out clear guidance as to how you qualify as a digital commodity. For example, if you could submit, if you want to go public, you actually submit a registration statement to the SEC and you negotiate it with them. And over the course of 3 months or 6 months, when they grant you, when they approve the registration statement, you can go active and then you're a publicly traded company. So there is a process by which you can take a company public as a public equity. If you don't get that approval, then you can't go public. You can't sell shares to the general public. So right now, the question is, if you had some crypto, the only crypto that's been deemed as a commodity is Bitcoin. That's the only one that I think is certain. I mean, everything else is a question. And the chair of the SEC said that on television a few days ago, right? So the question then becomes, okay, I think that my crypto is a commodity. How do I get it certified? Okay, there's no clear process. So if there was a process by which I could submit it to the CFTC or the SEC and get them to certify that it is not a security, that would be a step forward. I think the other step forward would be a process by which I could submit a stable coin to get it certified as a stable coin. Like there's a way you can get registered as an ETF right now with the SEC. Right? They deny or they grant. They've granted some ETFs. They've denied some ETFs, but there's a process. There's a process by which you can sell mutual funds and other investment funds to the general public. They can grant, but they can deny. So I don't see the process by which I can spin up a stable coin. And as you look at it, right, there's stable coins like Circle and Paxos, and they're registered entities in the United States, and they claim to be 100% backed by cash and cash equivalents. So that's one type of stable coin, but the SEC is not certifying them. The CFTC is not certifying them. There's no national certification. I think they've got money. They've got licenses from states. So there's no FDIC registration. There's no SEC, CFTC. I think that's frustration. Then you've got Tether, right, which is sitting in the middle, right? It's more opaque, popular but opaque, and the problem is because it's opaque, it's getting attacked. People are not so much. If people think they can wreck you, they'll attack you, right? I mean, it's kind of sad, I'm not a big fan of hedge funds and short sellers myself, but they will attack. And so they shorted UST and that worked for them. And so now they'll short Tether. They're not shorting Circle and Paxos because they perceive that they're not wreckable, right? Then you have UST, which some people thought was a stable coin. I mean, you could have called it a stable coin. They would add up, the market cap of stable coins. They added up Circle and Tether and UST. But when UST had $18 billion worth of value, the question is how much collateral was backing it, right? At one point, UST plus Luna was about a $50 billion ecosystem. And, they had $1 billion, maybe $2 billion. Did they have $3 billion in collateral? Somewhere between $1 and $3 billion in collateral against $50 billion of a float and $18 billion of a stable coin. Now, issuing $18 billion worth of a stable coin is like borrowing $18 billion from counterparties. So if you borrowed $18 billion from counterparties and you had $1 billion in collateral, you're levered up 18 to 1. Okay. On the other hand, if you borrowed it at 50% loan to value, then that means you have 36 billion in collateral. So you see the difference between having 36 billion in collateral, which is, by the way, 50% loan to value is risky. 25% loan to value, probably less risky for a volatile market. So in order to issue 18 billion in stablecoin and use Bitcoin as collateral, then the right mix would be, I have $72 billion worth of Bitcoin, and I issued $18 billion worth of UST. Okay, and that's over collateralized, but still risky. So it's pretty clear UST was never a stable coin. It was a security. The point of the regulators when they say these cryptos need disclosure is, if you'd known that you were buying a token that had $1 billion in equity and 20 billion in debt, and that a 5% move would wipe you out, you wouldn't have treated it like cash or cash equivalent, right? You wouldn't have said, oh, this is like a bank account that yields 20% interest. You would have said something different. You would have said, this is extremely risky. This is like a 20x margin trade. And if Bitcoin trades down 6%, I'm going to lose my life savings. So there's no way right now to certify, to get like a national certification for a stable coin. If there was, it would drive a process and people in the space would go through the certification process to get that. There's no way to create a certified crypto bank right now, right? The reason you had Celsius and Voyager and BlockFi as kind of uncertified, unregistered bank is because the regulators they were loose with regard to cracking down, but they also didn't give a path to certification. Caitlin Long, has created a crypto bank, and she's been trying to get an FDIC license for 18 months. She can't get it. And there's no obvious path to get the right license. But you can imagine if I was running an ETF and I said, I'm running a high-tech ETF and I'm going to buy a mixture of Facebook, Apple, and Amazon and trade it, and you were going to buy my ETF. Well, I would then post on a routine basis, like every day, or whenever I change my portfolio, I post what I own in the ETF. That's complete transparency.
All right, we will leave it there. If you want to watch the rest of this amazing conversation with Aaron and Austin from Altcoin Daily with the man himself, Michael Saylor, head over to Altcoin Daily's channel. Check out the entire interview. Still about 12, 13 minutes left of this clip. Just wanted to play a little bit and react to it. Michael Saylor hit on so many important points when it comes to the UST collapse, why it collapsed. If people would have actually known that a 5%, dip would collapse the entire quote unquote stable coin, they probably wouldn't have parked a lot of their money there. The last point I thought was a great point. Here in the United States, it's almost impossible to make a crypto bank. Now, other parts in the world, they're a little bit more crypto friendly. Maybe those sort of things can happen there, but here in the States, it's tough. So many great things. Let me know what you think about all this down below in the comment section. And thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. And I will see you all in the next video.